Hi, my name is Alexandra, and this is the Ancestral Conversations series that I'm holding with practitioners around the world who are combining their um, systemic work with family constellations, with shamanic work and ancestral work. And I'm particularly curious to ask them about ancestors, what ancestors are, and how do they work with them, and what are the benefits of this work. So today I have a pleasure of talking with Guy Tantan. And Tantan in Portuguese means nutty. And that name comes from his 35 years experience as a clown. He also trained as spiritual psychologist following all the psychedelics experiences in the 90s. And when he was invited to translate family constellations, he also trained in them and now is facilitating them. He also trained as a Sangoma in the Tokosa tradition, which I understand can be interpreted as my ancestors greet your ancestors with joy and love. And he is also a medicine man for the Native American tradition. Welcome, Guy. Very nice to meet you and such a pleasure to talk to you today. Thank you for your time and agreeing to do this.
Thank you, Alexandra, for inviting me, inviting other people similar to me, talking about this so important issue now. How can we honor our ancestors? Thank you for putting this together. I'm here.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. So let's just go straight into it. The first question I have for you is, what are ancestors? How do you understand this concept, or maybe the word itself, or the phenomena of ancestors in your work?
Okay. We are a consequence of all of our ancestors. So before family constellations, I didn't have that much that we are so much connected. Bert Hellinger opened my heart and eyes much more for the importance, what he learned from the Zulu. And very funny, because I got to the Zulu before I got to Bert Hellinger. So I learned about ancestors before family constellations, but in a different way. That honoring was not much as I am carrying their stuff, like Hellinger says, but much more of, hey, I'm here, please help me. The Zulu is always doing that, is opening their heart and their minds to be connected, to be listening, especially listening. So the calling to become a Sangoma, a shaman in South Africa, is eventually through sickness, through getting very bad things in your life. And then people say, hey, you need to be in honor of your ancestors. You need to do the Sangoma work, the Sangoma training, which is actually humbling ourselves to the higher force. That's all there is in all traditions of shamanism. I follow another tradition here in Native American too, and the same thing happens, humbling ourselves to our ancestors. Ancestors are everybody that came before. So actually, we all share the same ancestors. It doesn't matter what cosmology you follow. If you go South Africa, I learned from Credo Mutua, another big Vuzalmazulu Sangoma, beautiful man, beautiful woman, his wife, Virginia too. And what he told us was that we were brought here to this planet. We came from the other stars. And this is something I've had in my heart for so long. And I had a little confirmation of that with a special woman in America. I lived in Los Angeles, and this special woman in a consultation, she incorporated, like she embodied this ET and told me many things and told me, and actually affirmed what I felt, that I came from the Pleiades and from the 7 stars, from the Pleiades. And Credo Mutua told me the same thing. We come from there. So it doesn't matter. We all have the same ancestry. So we all related. We all together, all related is another word that we talk a lot. I'm so excited about this conversation. I love ancestors. And aho metakwe oyasin, it's all relations. And it includes, of course, the ancestors. All relations is, aho metakwe oyasin is what we say, I do it for, with, and to my all my relations, including my ancestors. Okay, ask me another question. I'm too excited. I don't even know what I told about.
So tell me, please, who are the ancestors? So the way you look at it, you've mentioned the star people, but I imagine there is more to that than I mean, star people is already a lot, but I imagine there is something else. So for you, who are the ancestors?
Okay, ancestry starts with the most important ones in my life were my father and my mother. And they are parents, and they are parents, and they are parents. Then that's how we go back. And the closer we are to our ancestors, like I'm closer to my father and my mother than I am to my grandparents. So I carry more of their stuff. So I am more connected to them. I follow their steps even unconsciously. That's what we do. We follow ancestors' steps, unconscious. And going back in time, I go back to Pleiades. That's my furthermost ancestry. And the field tells us what we are most connected to. I thought since child, I was connected to Black people because I always had good Black friends. And I always had that impulse of, I don't know, but naturally. And then I learned why. I have this impulse to give more to Black than to white, to trust more Black than I trust white. Why? I thought because of my Black blood. And then in a workshop, in a family constellation workshop, the teacher, uh, we were doing this test, and the field told me, showed me, I sensed it. No, my Black lineage is it's very small in me. I'm much more German, Viking, native Brazilian than I am Black. And I am in this life trying to give back what I took from Black, what my ancestors took from Black. So it's important that we know that it doesn't matter where you are in the world. You are white, you are better off than Black person. So it's up to our generation and the future generations to make up, to make it even, this relationship that we whites exploited the Blacks so much. And we are all from the same ancestors. So we are all brothers and sisters. But because of their skin color, they are carrying more stigma, more prejudice. And all societies build up on prejudice against them. So if you understand that, you pay your tribute to Black people more than others. I have spoken.
Thank you for this. I'm curious. You work with several different traditions from around the world, from the Americas and South Africa. How do you find this concept of ancestors across these traditions? Are they completely different, or do you find them the same? And do they resonate with your own experience of ancestors and with the systemic experience of working with the field and the family systems?
They're all connected. In the end, we came from the same light, from the same source, from the same silence. And I drink lots from the Sufi tradition through Claudio Naranjo, one of my teachers, a psychiatrist that brought Enneagram to light. And I drink much from the Hindu tradition. I follow Kriya Yoga, with Paramahansa Yogananda and Paramahansa Hariharananda. And all of them say the same thing, that ancestors are always with us, that we carry their memories, even unconsciously. We tell about the bones in Africa, the bones being the carrier of the memories. So in America, we do too, bones, and how we bring that ancestor memory about in America and in Africa too, with the stones. The stones are the bones of Mother Earth, and they carry the memory. When we bring Taita Inti, Abuelo Fuego, the fire, to the stone wakens up that memory, and we bring those red hot stones to the sweat lodge, to the Temescal, and those memories got awaken our memories. And we, without thinking, this is beyond our mind, this is the soul movement, like Bert Hellinger calls it. It's another way of doing soul movement. By experience that in your body, that heat going up and you sweat, and you can have your mirações, your visions, and you can heal, especially difficulties in womb, uterus, and difficulties in past lives are healed in Temescal. But I know 4 people for sure that of my acquaintances that were healed from not being able to get pregnant. Temescal helped them sort out what they had to. I diverged from the subject. Yeah, Tantan is crazy. I'm sorry, look.
Thank you. Well, it's interesting. So if you continue the idea with the Temescal, what is the connection there, if any, with ancestors? Because you've started talking about it as we all come from light, and we all know each other in our bones, and we all come from the same source. And for the earth, the stones are the bones, and this is how you moved into the Temescal experience, working with stones, with the memories of the earth, connecting with our own memories. So is this when we are connecting with our generational memories, with our ancestral memories in us, in our bones?
This is one of the ways to connect with our ancestral memory. Yes, this is one of the ways we do that. Another way is going to a Sangoma and having your bula, your bone reading. So I carry a bag of things, which are shells and stones and puppets. And Alexander comes to me and says, I want to know more about my life. How is my life at the moment? And I can do Bert Hellinger way when he constellated me. And his way of reading the bone is he touched my leg. I said, my issue is my father. The only thing I told him. And Bert Hellinger hold my tie like this, held my tie for a while, closed his eyes. And when he came back, he had read my childhood, adolescence, and young adult life, and told me and the other 1,500 people there, how was my life and what was my issue with my dad. That was how he read the bones. I am getting there. The more I practice, the more I can read the bones through just looking at the person or touching them. But the bones really help me when I throw my bag and I read it with all the stones showing the things, and I tell the person, and the person goes, uvuma, uvuma, which in Zulu means, I agree, I agree. It's amazing, I feel very good. And that's when we say, hey, you're missing out on your grandmother, your maternal grandmother, that she was a great teacher. She could be a great teacher, but you're not listening to her. Or you carry something from your great father or parents. And this needs work here. What is it that you carry from him? Maybe it is the stubbornness, or maybe dishonesty, whatever. And sometimes when a person comes as a family constellation, and they are like, oh, I have this issue and that other issue, I throw the bones and tell them, well, the most important issue here is this one. Would you like to? So it clarifies. It helps me clarify what is the next step for the person. I think I answered.
So what would be the benefit of working with ancestors? What can we learn, and what can we improve, or what can we change by attempting to work with them?
We are talking about changing perspective when we talk about systemic constellations. So when you have a chance to perceive your ancestors in a different way, to give honor to whatever they suffered, to whatever they went through, to whatever were their decisions, when you are okay with what happened to your ancestors, then you can own your own life. You can own all of your parts, because when you are neglecting something, like Jung said, you're actually being trapped by that, what you neglect. So if I push away my history, like I am a white, so my ancestors exploited black, I cannot run from that. I need to acknowledge that. So when I feel that I am in debt towards black people, I am actually healing those past relationships that were not okay according to the systemic laws of love. So I'm, by acknowledging what happened to them, I can feel free to do different from what they did. If I don't, if I neglect what they did, I will probably perform the same deeds, perform the same actions. I have a little, it was very funny. First time we brought ayahuasca to South Africa, there was this Sangoma that came here and said, wow, I drank ayahuasca there with a Peruvian guy. I didn't like it. Your way is much better because your way is family. Our ayahuasca tradition in Brazil is very family, towards family. We are a family. Okay, so we brought ayahuasca there. And in the middle of the ceremony, this white guy comes to me and says, hey, what did you do to me? You brought this medicine here, I drank it, and now I see all these images of tortures, of enslavement, of black people in the ships. I don't have anything to do with that. What? You don't have anything to do with that, man? Look how white you are. You were born in South Africa, and you have nothing to do with, oh man, no, I don't have anything to do with that. That's not my, well, he is negating his ancestors, his lineage. Ayahuasca was bringing him the truth. Look what happened, and you're part of this. Ayahuasca was telling him, and he was, no. He was having a hard time. That's what psychedelics can bring as a bad trip. Bad trip is you looking at how bad you are. That's the bad trip of ayahuasca. And it's very important for us to go through bad trips so that we can really see the devil that you are, that what you can do to others really, how envious, how fearful you are. And then you can transcend that, saying, yes, I am that way as well. And I have compassion for those parts in me. And I choose to do differently. I choose differently than other people, other generations actually. I honor my ancestors, but I'm not like my mom and dad. I'm not like them. I'm different. I drink psychedelics. I'm more free. I love them, but it's not for them. That's okay. I'm not changing them. Then that's key too. You're not trying to change your ancestors, especially not trying to change your father and mother. If you do that, man or woman, you're in trouble. real big trouble. So we change ourselves by looking at how bad we are and choosing to do differently.
Huh. Thank you. So I have a variety of questions now. One is, you mentioned ayahuasca and psychedelics, and you also mentioned other ways like family constellations that you work with ancestors. What In what other ways, including these ones, do you work with ancestors in your work with people?
Wow. My work with people, I take them to the ocean as a sangoma, tokosa. I, if they need, if I throw the bones and see that they need a better contact, I open the gates. So I go with a group of sangomas in a group of initiatives, and we put clay in their body. And there's a ritual. They are writing letters to their ancestors the night before, uh, acknowledging their ancestors and writing that, hey, I'm open to you. Please give me messages. I'm open to you. What I need is this, this, and that. Thank you for the life. And you write a letter for your female ancestors. You're in another letter for your male ancestors. And we go to ritual. We are washed in the ocean, and we bring goodies. We bring food. We bring flowers, perfume to give to the ocean. And the ocean brings them to the ancestors. And it's amazing when the gates open. Sometimes people have that vision of the ancestor right there, and the feeling of it, and the experiences after. Oh, my dreams are much lucid now. I can understand much more now. My relationship to my wife is better now because you made a better relationship with your ancestors. So this is the one way I work with ancestors. Another more subtle way is the star dance. Every July, not this July because of the Corona thing, but every July we hold 4 nights of dancing to the ancestors around the fire, singing sacred songs for ancestors, honoring 7 generations back, and praying for the 7 generations forward. And this ritual, this 4-night ritual, is done after the vision quest, which is the best therapy I've ever gone through my life. I've been through many therapies, Alexandra, many ways of trying to reach your psyche, your emotional, your mind. And the vision quest for me is the best thing. When you go up the mountain, you stay in nature for 4 days and 4 nights. You don't drink, you don't talk, you don't eat anything. You're just there. People here on the ground play the drum twice a day, and we eat and drink for those that are up there. And it's amazing how you can be in touch with your ancestors and with everything else that is part of you. All the animals that come are part of you. The rain or the sun, the cold of the heat. Amazing. So we go up the mountain 4 times. The first time is 4 days, and then 7 days, and then 9 days, and then finally 13 days by yourself. And of course, only 4 days and 4 nights fasting on water and food. So all the other days you got support, you get some food and water coming up there to you to stay. And some people are crazier and go for 17 or 21 days of solitude, being carried out by other people. But it's amazing how you move, how you learn from nature and from yourself doing that. Actually, we are in a time where we don't need masters anymore. The masters are us. You are my master. I'm your master. So the ant, the hummingbird that comes here, my 3 cats, or I'm the human, or I'm their human, right? They own me. Anyways, we learn from everyone and all the time, especially from ourselves. And in all traditions that I cited, that I try to follow, like the Sufi, the Hindu, the Kriya Yoga, the Itzatlatam, the Sacred Fire, the Sangoma, we all say the same thing. Meditate. Go back to your essence. Go back to the inner core of your own psyche. Go back to that divine sparkle that is within you, and you have all the answers there. So go back to your silence. And I'm shutting up now.
You mentioned that when people begin to honor their ancestors, when the gates are open, things happen. For example, their relationship with their partner is better because they honor their ancestors. How does that work? How do you imagine this works? How can I improve my relationships through honoring my ancestors?
We start with father and mother. These are the closest. So if you can do that, it's a big step already. So I tell you what happened to me. All my life I've been spiritual, driven to spirituality. So at age 10, I told my father and mother, I want to go to Catholic church, to Catholic school, to learn and to be able to eat Christ's body in mass. And they were like, what? Really? We are Catholic, but they didn't practice anything. But I want to know more of Christ, about Christ. And I went there, did that, Catholicism. So, and always I went, then I gave up Catholicism because of marijuana. Yes, I couldn't be hypocrite enough to be going to the meetings, Catholic meetings, where the parents and the priests and nuns would tell us about the danger of marijuana. And I was smoking already, and I saw the greatness of marijuana. So I couldn't, so I, no more. Later on, I started yoga, and I kept on going and learning spirituality. And I graduated, I have a master in spiritual psychology. So my father is a doctor, very Cartesian, squared, you know? So that's what I brought to Beth Hellinger. My difficulty with my father, because I'm spiritual and he's not. I didn't tell all of this. I just said my issue is my father. And he told me that I was away from my father, that I didn't not embrace my father totally. In my case, because of the excess love of my mother. I am mommy's son. My mother lost a child before me. So when I came, she was too protective of me. She didn't allow me to go to my father to have the lessons that I would learn from him. She would always interfere. And that healed me. But it took, this constellation took like 3 or 4 years to really get into place. Slowly came. And was funny the way Beth Hellinger taught me this is important, how we change perspective. How did I change my perspective towards my father? He asked someone to represent my father, just one person there. And the movement that the man did was getting pulled from here behind and up. That's all. Very subtle movement that Hellinger told us. Look, your father is already in spirituality. he is a spirit already. And he opened my mind. He was a priest before. And what he said, spirituality is attained through work. I thought it was through religion. I think he did too, being a priest before. But he opened my eyes to see that what you do on earth is what brings you to your dharma, to your spirituality, to your fulfilling your mission. And that's when you're connected to your essence, to God inside you, through your work. I thought it was being a clown for people and teaching them to love by laughing. Yes. And then I found out there's more layers to that. That's part of it. So that's how you can change your life, by honoring your ancestors. Start with your mother, start with your father. If I was blaming my mother for being overprotective, I wouldn't be who I am. The thing is that when I blame, when I judge my ancestors, I'm judging part of me. I am neglecting part of me. How can I have a fulfilling, successful life if I don't like some part of me? So it's natural that to love myself, I need to love everything that brought me here. And that's my ancestors. I have spoken.
Thank you. Yes, you did. And you've actually answered several of my questions in this answer. One thing I wanted to ask you, for somebody who has no experience but is very interested in the ancestral work or in their own ancestors, would you share a simple way, maybe a simple ritual or a simple ceremony or just a simple action step that somebody can take to begin this journey with their ancestors?
Well, we start with mother and father, which are most difficult and most important. So, as an exercise, as a first exercise, uh, see what relationship, if it's your father or your mother, that brings more difficulty to you. Decide upon that and work on that by saying, thank you, mom or dad, for being exactly the way you are. It is a big step if you can say that with your wholehearted truth, being really truthful to that. By trying to say that to a picture or to your mom or dad visualizing in your mind, trying to say that with the certainty, with truth in your heart, if you can do that, wonderful. But if you can't, go meditate on it. What is it that you judge in your mom or dad? Remember that they gave you the biggest gift that anyone could or can ever give you. They gave you your life. Even if they didn't want it, life wanted it to go through them to you. So you got to give thanks to them for being available for life to go through them to you. Even if consciously they were not available, they were available. They actually gave you life. So be thankful for that. Start there. Start by giving thanks to your mom and dad for the life that you have. That's the first step. And then try to find out why you don't give that much thanks and what is that and how you can solve that. Why did they do what they did? Try to understand them from their moccasins. Put yourself in their shoes. That's how you can change your perspective and honor your parents, your grandparents, and everything that came before. Whatever happened had to happen. So give thanks to whatever happened, to whatever crisis there was. We just had a cyclone here in the eco village I live in south of Brazil. Many trees fell. Very difficult. We had to cook some more medicine because our vines that produce ayahuasca fell down. It's a gift from nature. Are we complaining? Are you complaining about your life? So, so you're disconnected from your essence. When we complain, we are not connected to the essence. Go back to your silence and see that you don't need anything, nothing. You are complete, whole, and beautiful.
Thank you. I imagine that right now, in the situation we are in globally, for many people, it could be quite a challenge to hear this word about not complaining and taking everything, every crisis as a gift. So I'm wondering if there is anything you would like to say in regards to what is going on right now. Um, hmm.
Yes, with much compassion for those who suffer, who feel the loss or feel the fear of losing something. Much compassion for them. And a word of hope, remembering Krishna telling Arjuna in the battle in the Bhagavad Gita, saying, nothing can harm your soul. Your soul is eternal. That's my hope for you. You are going to die. Your body will, but not your soul. So don't worry. Be happy. Try to find ways of promoting your own gratitude towards little things in your life. Gratitude towards being able to breathe, if that's the only thing you have. And with gratitude, good things start building up on top of other good things. Do some laughter yoga. Go to India. Well, laughter yoga is in the internet. Laugh out your worries. Because, like Mark Twain said, I had many worries in my life, and most of them were illusional. We are afraid of what is not here, of illusion. We are afraid of what is going to come. Hey, be here now. If you are afraid, you either run or fight. But this is now. Play, go back to your childhood dreams right now and play with whoever are around you. If you only have your nose to play with your nose. We can find ways of being happy, even though we are secluded, even though we are separated, even though all of these things. Life is still grand. Doesn't matter where you are. Remember those monks in Tibet that were put in the cell by themselves 11 months, 2 years, total closure, not receiving any light for years, and still within there is a fire that will never vanish if your mind let it burn. So let your internal fire burn. Go back to your silence where it's burning heat. Wonderful. Joy. Yes. You can find joy even in the worst places because that's human experience. And we only have decisions here. Of course, we carry things from our ancestors, and it's up to us to clear those things. But we can do that by just going back to our essence, bringing that joy of that gratitude of being alive. I have spoken once more.
Thank you so much. This has been such a pleasure and such a wise conversation. Um, is there anything else that you would like to bring into this space before we close?
Well, gratitude. Gratitude to you, Alexandra. It's a great job that you rise up consciousness to the importance of our ancestors. Thank you very much for this project. I hope to watch other interviews that you do with other people around the world. Yes. And thank you, you that listen to us up to now. And go have fun. Go enjoy your life, please.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you. It's been a wonderful experience, and thank you for agreeing to do this conversation, and thank you for all the work that you do with people. Bringing more joy to them and more happiness to them. And I'm hoping to see you again sometime around the world when it's possible. Thank you.